Every great journey begins with a reason to exist. Some are born from struggle, others from legacy. But they all share one thing in common: a vision capable of turning an idea into destiny. Ours was born from a deep conviction that Africa should no longer only be imagined, it must be built by its youth. A conscious generation, connected, capable of thinking together, acting together, and influencing together. A generation no longer searching for its place in the world, but choosing to create it. A generation that refuses the borders imposed on ideas, ambitions, and peoples. Because beyond distances, there is one shared history, one shared energy, and one shared future to build. On one side of the world, young people carry ideas. On the other, others carry the same dreams. Yet too often these energies remain disconnected. Faced with this reality, an urgency emerges to transform words into action, to connect African talents from the continent and the diaspora, and to structure a new Pan-African dynamic. Not tomorrow, now. Because thinking about Africa is no longer enough. We must project it, organize it, and give it the tools of its influence. It is from this urgency that the Vision 2030 of Africa Without Borders was born. Not as a simple ambition, but as a trajectory. An architecture designed to train, produce, and connect a generation capable of carrying Africa differently. To achieve this, Africa Without Borders relies on several strategic projects: the institutionalization of the movement, the Young Diplomats School, the Africa Without Borders Journal, and the AWB Research Center. Different initiatives, but driven by one shared purpose: to give African youth the means to think, act, and influence for themselves. First, institutionalizing our presence. Transforming Africa Without Borders into a structured organization, deeply rooted in the realities of the continent and the diaspora. Turning every country into a space for action, and every young person into an actor of change. Then, preparing the decision-makers of tomorrow. Through the Young Diplomats School, we aim to train a generation capable of understanding global challenges, mastering geopolitical dynamics, and carrying Africa's voice within international spaces. Because the future of the continent also depends on those who will represent it. Then comes knowledge. The Africa Without Borders Journal becomes a space where Africa writes, analyzes, and affirms its own vision of the world. A space where African thought no longer remains peripheral, but becomes a force of proposition. Because an Africa that produces its own narrative is an Africa that asserts its power. Finally, connecting this collective intelligence. The AWB Research Center creates a lasting bridge between researchers, students, experts, and changemakers across the continent and the diaspora. Because knowledge only transforms the world when it circulates. Train, produce, connect. These pillars are not isolated projects. They form one same dynamic, one same direction. Vision 2030 is not a promise. It is a construction, a movement, a responsibility carried by an entire generation. Today, we move forward step by step, country after country, project after project, idea after idea. Africa Without Borders, more than a name, a direction, and 2030 is only the beginning.